All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off saying, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Harikakwadash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Muslim, double honors to my elder apostles as well, her one body Yasharal down in the lines of the camp. And salutations to the occupant that are pushing the truth, sincerity, truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'm Khalak Salam Bar Yasharal from the lines of the Yasharal camp. This is another lines and news and prophecy. So here we go. Second Ezra 15 and 1, it says, Speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. All right. This is going into what I did a lesson on last week, saying the United States was sending the largest aircraft carrier um to the Caribbean. Now it has arrived. All right. So I'm interested to see what Russia's going to do in response to that, because on the October 29th, apparently, um, Russia um, sent uh, missile defense systems to Venezuela to help aid with the increased tension um, that America is bringing over there in that region. So Russia's been showing total support um, for Venezuela, not only now, also in times past. You see, so when it was, what was it, 2018, something like that, when the Venezuelan economy had collapsed, when they were eating rotten meat and stuff like that, um, Russia came to their aid and helped stabilize their economy. You see that? That's all going to prophecy, man. That Russia's going to be a guard unto these other nations, to go up against Babylon. So I say he'll stir up against Babylon the spirit of the Medes. Oh, that smells good. Got some new incense. I didn't even know I had grabbed that for earlier. Smells good though. Yeah, man. So we're witnessing the tensions heat up over there in the Caribbean and South America, but everything is kind of quiet now over there in the Middle East for some reason. Or is this a not necessarily a false flag or a distraction or to what's going on over there? You still got what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Um, curious to see if they're going to start using if those Tomahawk missiles that uh, um, President Trump promised have arrived yet. You know, are they going to be used? Was he just bluffing? Who knows? But that's increasing tensions between the United States and Russia. See that now we're getting into the winter months, and a lot of those NATO European Union nations get a lot of their gas and stuff from Russia. You know, and what if Russia pumps the brakes on that? That's gonna leave everybody looking at America like, damn, you got us over here cold in the mud. Because Russia has their targets on anybody who gave aid to Ukraine. Right? America was one of the biggest ones. You see how they're aggressively showing their support to Venezuela. It said the Pentagon's largest aircraft carrier, USS General R. Ford, and its strike group arrived in the Latin America region on Tuesday, according to the United States Navy, as the Trump administration beefs up its military presence in the U.S. Southern Command areas and strikes alleged drug trafficking boats on both sides of the South America. All right. So now America has been shooting these vessels down, claiming that these vessels are boats used for drug trafficking, allegedly. You know. So with that being said, that's just their call, and ultimately, what is it? The United Nations or the UN Council is investigating these actions against these vessels and saying that they're not against they're against uh maritime and international law, that that so Trump might be brought to counsel behind him giving the military authority to shoot down these vessels or blow up these vessels. It says the USS General R. Ford, carrying more than 4,000 soldiers and dozens of tactical aircraft, entered the Southcom area of responsibility after being directed by the Department of Defense, which is Department of War, to depart the Mediterranean in October for what officials argue was assistance in dismantling traditional criminal organization and curbing drug smuggling. Same thing they did, like I did in the lesson last week with Panama invasion. This is really them wanting to change the regime, you know, and this is the way they go about doing it and call it in the lines of democracy, freedom fighting, war on terrorists, war on drugs. You know, it's funny how the hammer of the earth looks at everybody else as being terrorists. You know, it's crazy because United States is the ultimate terrorist on the block. You know, it says the enhanced U.S. force presence in the West Southcom AOR will bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors and activities that compromise the safety and prosperity of the United States homeland and our security in the Western Hemisphere. Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Purnell said in a statement on Tuesday. Right, man, yeah, all that sounds good, but well, let's get something real quick. All that sounds good, man. Those patriotic Americans are going to eat that all up. But we all know what's really happening. This is, let's get Psalms 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. See that? So, but he said these efforts to beef up military in the Caribbean is for the sovereignty and the protection of the American dream and the American so-called American people. But we all know that's bullshit and foolishness, right? Like, but you got 2/3 Jake falling for it. Saying these things that need to be done. Trump trying to help clean up our neighborhoods, right? This is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 6. It says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he's imagined how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." All right. And that's the opportunity. What is it called? Seizing the moment. That's what America's doing. The United States is doing, trying to seize the moment, being an opportunist. Opportunist, having an opportunity to bring out the regime that's currently in Venezuela to place someone there that they want there, like they tried to do in 2019 or 2018, one of them. You see that? But the people back then, the people got into so much of an uproar, it wasn't gonna be. They would have revolted at that time. But now here's an opportunity, right? Seizing the opportunity with all this stuff going on, right? They see an opportunity to finally get Maduro out of the way and put who they want. All right. It says, All right, these forces will enhance and augment existing capabilities to disrupt narcotics trafficking and degrade and dismantle traditional criminal organizations, Parnell added. The Ford, whose efforts in the area include USS Bainbridge, USS Mahan, and USS Winston Churchill, will bolster U.S. firepower in the vicinity of Venezuela as the DoD, Department of Defense, or DoW, Department of War, has already deployed eight warships, F F-35 fighter jets, and at least one nuclear-powered submarine in the Caribbean. See, they're showing big boy force, right? But you got Russia not showing that much force as much as the United States is, but they're showing that they're backing what Venezuela, and Maduro recently did a call out saying that he's calling out for all the Caribbean nations and all the South American nations to rise up and stand up against America. See that? It says the tensions between Washington and Venezuela have ramped up as Trump administration officials have called Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro an illegitimate leader and associated him with drug trafficking operations in the region, which he has denied. In recent interviews on CBS 60 Minutes, President Trump indicated Maduro's days were numbered. Maduro has argued that the U.S. military buildup in the region is meant to force him out of office, same way they did Manuel Noriega. At the same time, the U.S. military has been taking out alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific, conducting 17 strikes that have killed at least 76 people who the administration has called narco terrorists. Mm. See this here. Hold on 1 second. All right. It says, though unwavering commitment and the precise use of our forces, we stand ready to combat the traditional threats that seek to destabilize our region, Southcom Commander Admiral Alvin Hosley, who is retiring this year, said in a statement. The USS General R. Ford Carrier Strike Group's deployment represents a critical step in reinforcing our resolve to protect the security of the Western Hemisphere and the safety of American homeland. See that? But that's bullcrap. We all know that, man. So similar as the last week, they were sending them out there now. Apparently today it arrived. Um, we'll see what's going to happen next. Curious to see what's happening in the Middle East. Um, Curious to see what China and Taiwan are thinking right now. You know, that ain't that shot. China hasn't just forgotten about wanting to annex Taiwan, and America's in the middle of that one also. All right, so we'll see what on these upcoming events what's going to happen. Lord willing, this lesson to edify and serve His purpose for the hope of the elect, the one that truly believe in the name Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. With that, I'd like to call Halayim by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harikak Radash, my month. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and double honors to our elder apostle as well, or her one by Yasharala down here in the Lions Den Camp. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.